that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. Don't know much about history, don't know much biology, don't know much about a science book, don't know much about the French I took, but I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. Don't know much about geography, don't know much trigonometry, don't know much about algebra, don't know what a sliding rule is for, but I do know 1 and 1 is 2. And if this one could be with you, what a wonderful world this would be. Now, I don't claim to be an A student, but I'm trying to be. For maybe by being an A student, baby, I can win your love for me. Don't know much about history, don't know much biology, don't know much about a science book, don't know much about the French I took, but I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. La ta 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 ta. History. Biology. Well, la ta 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 ta. French I took. Yeah, but I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. There's a summer place where it may rain or storm, yet I'm safe and warm, for within that summer place your arms reach out to me, and my heart is free from all care, for it knows there are no gloomy skies when seen through the eyes of those who are blessed with love, and the sweet secret of a summer place is that it's anywhere when two people share all their hopes, all their dreams, all their love. And the sweet secret of a summer place is that it's anywhere when two people share all their hopes, all their dreams, all their love. I told you there's no one above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. All the morning sun and all its glory, reach this day with hope and comfort too. And you fill my life with laughter, you can make it better, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Cause the love is divine, and it's yours and it's mine like the sun. At the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one. Say, have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do.
Way up high, the
dreams that you dare to. Why, oh why can't
Good afternoon, friends. It is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome you here today in celebration of the life of Todd Fulbright. On behalf of Sue, Dave, Jody, Tim, and the entire Fulbright family, we thank you for joining us today. I'd also ask you at this time to make sure that your cell phones are all on silent or turned off. I welcomed you all as friends because if you knew Todd, that's what you were, his friend. The son of John and Doris Fulbright, Todd entered this world kicking and screaming just shy of 80 years ago. Todd was born and raised in West Michigan, Rockford, where he would go on to raise a wonderful family and establish a sailing dynasty that would impact the lives of literally thousands of families through the company and the cult known as Sail Place. Being raised in the Rockford area, where the family still has extensive roots, Todd graduated from Rockford High School in the spring of 1960. Years of family adventures in the UP while growing up gave Todd a healthy love and respect for the great outdoors that he would pass down through his children and his grandchildren. Todd was fortunate to retain many friends over the years, but two childhood friendships with the Kitson and Jackson families would stand out, and whose adventures would become the stuff of legend. But the most impactful event of a young Mr. Fulbright would come in the summer of 1959, the same year when NASA introduced the first Mercury astronauts, when a pretty young Miss Sue Smaltz first caught his eye up at Glen Lake. I suppose that's fitting, as she would remain the center of his universe for the next 62 years. The story goes that Sue was spending the summer away from her home in Detroit, helping in her grandparents' business, Schmaltz Modern Cottages, by cleaning cottages with her grandmother. Well, Todd's folks, John and Doris Fulbright, happened to have a cottage up on Glen, and fate would bring the two together in a place that still holds deep meaning for the family to this day. Taking a page out of their storybook, as their relationship had blossomed to the point where they were engaged, Todd had gotten a ring set, in the wedding ring stashed up in a drawer in his room. As they apparently decided to follow a loose family tradition, they were planning to elope. Todd's mother, Doris, happened to be home reading a copy of the Grand Rapids Press after Todd had snuck off to Detroit to get Sue and happened to look at the marriage license column. Well, wouldn't you have guessed it, listed right there was her son's name. Well, this was before the days of cell phones. Grandma Doris called Sue and asked her what in the world was going on. Sue told her that they were getting married by the Justice of the Peace on Grand River Avenue, and Doris was not happy. Though I suppose that it all worked out in the end, as she was eventually able to have a reception at the family farm on 10 Mile, but it took Grandma Doris years to get over not having a big wedding for her son. In 1972, Todd and his brother Tim took a leap of faith and purchased Sail Place and began leaving their extensive mark on the boating community around the state of Michigan and around the country. I always laughed about how one of the best blue-watered boat dealerships was centered so far off a lake in Cedar Springs, but to this day I still drive past and think of all the wonderful memories. Sailing was how our family became close with the Fulbrights. Over the years, I couldn't begin to count the memories. Dad and I were just talking the other day about the countless hours I spent on Todd's shoulders wandering around Walt Disney World. Of course, I got my monorail socks on in honor of Todd today. We're getting in trouble with security at the Ritz-Carlton in Chicago for throwing paper airplanes out of the windows. Man, those suckers caught the updraft and went right up the side of the building. Todd and Sue became like another set of parents to me over the years. And I can honestly say that without the presence of Todd and Sue in my life and the life of my family, I would never have had the love of water that I do, likely never would have bought a sailboat, and I never would have done so many of the things that I experience and take for granted without the presence of this family and this man, John Todd Fulbright. And I'm certain that there are so many of you with us today that have stories that are just like mine. That's just the kind of man that Todd was. Kind, generous, caring. Todd Fulbright created so many friendships and so many bonds that will endure far past the lives of those seated in this room here today. Rarely are individuals so very blessed to have such a wide and lasting impact on the lives of others within their lifetime. I can think of few things that Todd enjoyed more than making friends, and perhaps only that, his grandchildren, Alex, Rose, Andy, Jack, and Lily. I know that in his last days he was most concerned to hear of Rosie, and if she had had her baby yet. While I know that he didn't get to meet little Joni Marie in this lifetime, I can take comfort that in passing he probably gave her a big hug and a high five on his way through. I know that he was immensely proud of all of you and to each of you and who you grew up to be. I would like to take a few moments and read some thoughts on behalf of the family, and I'll start with Dave. John Todd Fulbright was my dad. Dad was a very affectionate man. That might sound odd to some of you that knew him. There was not a lot of pats on the back, attaboys, or I love you growing up. Dad chose to show his affection in his own way. He was generous beyond belief and would always be there to offer help and guidance, no matter what. Without words, we knew how full of love he was. He, like his father, John T. Fulbright, had a passion for the outdoors, and he embedded that in me since the day I was born, and I am forever grateful for that. Camping, fishing, boating, and later sailing was just what we did. I realized that I grew up in a family that earned its living in the recreational business, that along with all the hard work, we got to play with all the toys we sold. From having my first snowmobile and mini bike when I was in single digits in age to be given a sailboat to learn on, I soon realized that this was our life and our livelihood, and it was great. Growing up for Jody and I was a blast. From trips to Glen Lake, Disney, Long Key, Hatteras, and much more. He and Mom taught us how to love life and adventure, which we have, and we hope that we're passing that on to their grandkids. My dad learned business from his father, John T. Fulbright, and passed that on to me. To say that growing up in a family business was tough is an understatement. And as many of you know, but we made it work. Dad, Tim, Mom, and I worked together for many years, and I am proud beyond belief that 2022 will mark our 50th year owning and operating SailPlace, and we continue to change and grow with the market. Wow, what a ride. When I met and later married Kathy, Mom and Dad welcomed to our family with open arms, and she's been able to share with me living life the Fulbright way. Then there's the grandkids. As we talked after Dad's death, I realized that Tim Spittler was Dad's first starter grandchild. Tim, me, paved the way in what was 30 plus years of never-ending love for those kids. Tim first, then Alex, Rose, Andy, Jack, and Lily. Left with never-ending stories of all the things that he did for them. They were able to share with Michael, Adamo, Grace, and Calvin what it was like to have Papa Todd. It was great. Just ask them. As he aged, he was not able to travel as much, but he lived through all of our travels. He often knew more about where we were than we did, and he was happy to share everything he found online with us. He's gone, but will never be forgotten. He was a great custodian of our family's history and archives. As we go through literally thousands of family photos, going back many generations, I've often thought to myself, I wonder where this was taken, or who this person is, and realize that he's no longer around to ask. It's now up to us to do our best to be the stewards of this history. Goodbye, Dad. We'll take it from here. Thank you, Dave. An entire life spent working, living, and playing, spent side by side with your family. It's a blessing that few people get to know. Looking at you, it's easy to see how much Todd has built of you. Now some thoughts from Jody. Of all the tasks leading up to this day, the hardest part I've done is to write a tribute to my dad. Perhaps because it makes his death unbelievably real to write it down. Perhaps because I really don't feel I have the words and the ability to capture what my dad meant to me and the impact that he had on my life. I will do my best. As David mentioned, Dad had a unique way of showing his love and affection for us our whole lives. He was not a dad who showered me with praise and loving comments. His affection and pride came in different forms. It wasn't always easy for me in my teen years. My mom would often tell me things that he'd say to others about me and how clearly proud he was of me. I loved when she'd tell me these stories. It was kind of like she was sneaking me candy. Years ago, Dad bought me a gold sunshine necklace and ears to match. My mom said that Dad had told her they reminded him of me because I was like the sunshine. Really? I thought. Ha! I couldn't imagine him saying that. But I've worn that set of jewelry almost every day for as long as I can remember. How special they are to me. As I became an adult, I learned to understand my dad's love language. He was always very interested in what I was doing. He was always supportive and excited for me to travel and experience new things. He was a solid man I could always count on. There are so many things that I love and admire about my dad, so many things that I am grateful for. Let me share a few. There's a quote that I love that reads, "The greatest thing a father can do for his daughter is to love his mother, to love her mother." How true is that? I admired my mom and dad's marriage beyond words. They were amazing role models of husband and wife, as well as life companions and friends. You all know my mom was a little sassy, a little crazy, and a little fun. While my dad was more reserved, he took so much joy in seeing her have fun with her friends and her family. I loved that about him. I admired how big-hearted my dad was to so many, what a hard worker he was, and how smart he was. He had years of chronic back pain that changed his lifestyle immensely. I admire how he didn't complain about that and did his best to live his life to the fullest despite the pain. I love the childhood that he provided Dave and me. I love that he embraced life full on and that he instilled that in me. I'm so very grateful for growing up in a family that was active, adventurous, and loved the outdoors. I love and admire the Papa Todd that my dad was to the grandkids. It was such a joy watching him over the years being a grandparent. He provided them with so many fun experiences as they've grown up, spoiled them beyond belief with his attention to their lives. Papa Todd rarely missed an opportunity to go to a sporting event or a band concert to support his grandchild. He really didn't want to miss out on anything that they were doing or what they were interested in. As Dave mentioned, Dad's ability to venture out changed as the years passed with his back issues. It was heartwarming, the amount of interest he took in all of our trips. Truly, it seemed like sometimes he was there for us. He was there with me. Lily and I took a trip to Alaska in July of 2020. We were on the phone with Dad almost every day, telling us what we were doing next while he was at home watching us on Google Maps or researching information about where we were. It wasn't uncommon while we were traveling with friends that they'd say, "You should send your dad a picture of that and ask him what it is. Or call your dad and ask him what the weather's going to be." I'm grateful that he wanted to share those experiences with me and our family, even though it was a while resting back in a chair. His body couldn't travel, but he continued to travel through the rest of us. I wanted to take a minute to recognize my brother Dave. Thank you, Dave, for shifting into the captain of the ship these past weeks. You are so much like Dad. From our hard days in the hospital trying to advocate for Dad's health, taking the best care of Mom, and for orchestrating this day to celebrate our dad, you have been amazing. I know Dad sees you and is so very proud of the strong Fulbright man that you are. I love you. Dad, I love you. I really can't imagine my life without you. You're gone too soon. I will listen for you in my ear all of the time. I'm sure you will remind me how to park your car in the garage and how to make sure not to let your counter get too cluttered. More importantly, you will remind me that tomorrow is not promised and to take in all of today. Rest in peace, Dad. You've had a hell of a ride. Thanks for being my dad. Thank you, Jody. One hell of a ride. Can't think of a better way to put it. We should all be so fortunate in our lives. And now Todd's brother Tim has these thoughts to share. How do you say goodbye to your brother, your only brother, your big brother? He's left us too soon. There were to be more years, more time ahead. Now it's my lifetime of memories of growing up with my brother and our family's accomplishments under his leadership. Todd was 16 when I was 6. I can remember some of his teenage years, his friends Tom and Lee. We had a set of bongos. I remember the music by the Kingston Trio and Peter, Paul, and Mary. I guess that was the end of the beatnik era. We spent some time fishing, and Todd went deer hunting with Dad in the UP. Todd went off to college, and he was already working with Dad at Watercraft Sales. We had a lot of fun at our cottage at Glen Lake, and one of Todd's luckiest days was when he met Sue. Their life together gave testament to their compatibility in enjoying their lives to the fullest in the family that they created. When I was a teen, Todd had taken the helm of Dad's business. Some of our most exciting times were racing snow jets. When Todd was 30, we became business partners in Sail Place. That began the now almost 50-year run as a family business. Under Todd's leadership, Sail Place became our family focus, and the business grew along with the sport of sailing. We just went in every day, we worked hard, and probably didn't realize the many difficult business decisions that Todd was faced with. It was fun work, and Todd handled the details. I learned a lot from my big brother. When I messed up or needed to hear another point of view, he always just talked me through it. He could be stern, telling me what I needed to hear, but he didn't put me down. He had to put up with my terrible twos, and later getting me through my 20s. All in all, we worked well together. Sue and David too. The business became a family member. It allowed our family to enjoy our lifetime together. Selling sailboats and sailing sailboats was our work and play. In the 80s and 90s, whenever David or I needed to take a week and go racing because we thought it was good for advertising, Todd and Sue covered the store, and off we went to a regatta. Todd was the best brother ever. This moment I feel a bit lost, knowing he's not here. He kept me on course navigating our business and family life together. He is responsible for our success. My happiest memories are knowing Todd loved watching, mentoring, and planning adventures for and with his grandkids. He loved being Papa Todd. They can move forward remembering Papa Todd as they build families of their own that he would be proud of. It's easy to look up and to admire my brother. I always did, and I always will. I think about him every day. Now, and every day a new memory pops into my head. There are photos of Mom, Dad, and Todd next to my bed. The people who shaped me. We sure had a great life together. Todd's granddaughter, Alex, would like to now share a few words on behalf of herself and the rest of the grandchildren.
Hi, everybody. So like Tim said, I'm Alex, Alexandria Sue Fulbright, and I am the oldest of the Fulbright grandchildren. And I am here to share a couple stories and memories from his grandkids. So growing up on Christmas, we always had this tradition that we would take turns one by one opening our gifts, and we always went youngest to oldest. So in the spirit of that, we're going to start with Lily. I find it hard to describe Papa Todd in one simple word or event. I remember Papa from his high fives or his many YouTube videos. In the end, I'm not exactly sure if he wanted me to be an engineer or a pilot more, with the copious amounts of YouTube videos he sent for each. I remember playing euchre with him as my partner and his frustration with Grandma for her euchre skills. Papa always had a right way that he wanted things done. I got that firsthand this year when he was teaching me how to fill the bird feeders, and we were interrupted by a flying squirrel. I will remember him by the money he would slide all of us, much to my mom's dismay. I will remember him by the funny Christmas presents like the selfie stick, or this year, the fully pink toolkit. There are so many things that I miss about Papa, and I will forever be thankful for all of the memories with him. All right, and these are Jack's words, Lily's older brother. Just like Papa Todd was a man of few words, I will keep this short. In the last 2 weeks, I wish I could have thanked him more for all of the things he has done for us. I would like to first thank him for finally letting me drive his fancy mower after 21 long-awaited years. And I would also like to thank him for influencing me so largely in life. Without him, I don't know if I would have been an engineer. If it was putting an Easter egg in my jacket hood during an Easter egg hunt, or getting frustrated at Andy over reckless driving in the blue Jeeps, he cared deeply about his family. We all know that he was a perfectionist from his lazy boy and loved his folding camp chairs. I have been fortunate that he has always been so interested in what I've been doing, such as stalking me at the rowing camp trip freshman year, or always being so intrigued by my work. I will miss you a whole lot, Papa, but I always know you will be looking over us. And this one is from Rosie, so bear with me. I'd like to share a few of my favorite memories of Papa Todd. He knew he could bribe Alex and I with a very small amount of money, and he made us work for it. One time we were at a restaurant for a sale place dinner. He, of course, was focused on his grandkids and came up with a way to keep us entertained. He told Alex and I he'd give us $5 whole if we could walk to the bathroom and back with a spoon on our nose. For those of you who don't know, that's a Fulbright tradition. The bathrooms were upstairs, so we had to take the elevator. If the spoon fell over, you had to start over. We went at it all night, and I actually can't remember who won, but since Alex is reading this, I'm sure she'll claim she did. Neither of us managed to do it, by the way. Papa Todd ripped that $5 bill right down the middle and handed half to each of us. I'll never forget watching him do that, which I'm pretty sure is a federal offense. He told us we needed to work together to spend it, and Alex and I proceeded to stash our $250 away into our adult years. Pretty sure I still have mine. Another time he bribed me was at my Aunt Jody's wedding at Frederick Meyer Gardens. Alex and I were flower girls. Love you, Jody, but boring job. Flower girl. To make sure we stood still and didn't disrupt the ceremony, he put a 50-cent coin, remember we worked for cheap, on the ground where we needed to stand, and told us if we stood still the whole time, we could keep it. I remember looking over at him during the ceremony and seeing him smirk and point at our feet. We stood so damn still, and I got to keep the money. Papa couldn't rip the coins in half. Finally, more recently, and not bribery related, Papa Todd was so invested in our lives, even as we became less cute adults. He welcomed my husband Michael into the family with open arms, bonding over sports, shoes, and winterizing the camper. Papa loved watching Michael figure it out and had some fun laughing at his efforts. He was one of our favorite people to send pictures of our trips to because he was so genuinely interested. We took a trip to the UP last summer and had an awesome time sharing that trip with him. The last part is hardest for Michael and I. Papa Todd was so excited to be a great-grandpa. And we were so excited to see him be one. When he was first admitted to the hospital, I was driving Grandma Sue there to see him. She was FaceTiming him from the passenger seat. After he made sure to tell me to drive slow since I was carrying precious cargo, aka Grandma Sue, he told all the nurses to take good care of him because he needed to meet his great-granddaughter. My heart was so full and then so broken when we had to say goodbye, sooner than we were ready to. He would have been an amazing great-grandpa, but he is still with us and my dad. Our baby girl was born on September 8th at 1:49 p.m. Labor started on Todd's birthday, which is why we are not there with you all today. But we are so thankful for the lessons that Papa taught us all and the love he shared. And I am so excited and thankful to see it live on through my dad, Papa Dave. Joni is so lucky to have such a loving family surrounding her, and we know Papa is with us. Please celebrate him today. Cry when you need to, but tell all your favorite stories and embrace the truly positive, life-loving person he was. I'll never know how to thank him, but Grandma Sue, please know how thankful all of us are for the family you two have built and the love you continue to show us all. I love you all so much. Rosie. All right. And lastly, these are my words. I'm going to take a swig of water real quick. That one got me. All right. As I sit here in Papa Todd's chair, I can't help but notice the view. The sunlight coming off Upper Lake, the thick rolling forest that surrounds it, the flowers in the front garden, the hummingbirds fighting over the feeder. I can see the entire living room and kitchen, the front door, and the back porch. But he could see so much more than that. From this chair, Papa could see Whitehall. He could see Grand Rapids, Indianapolis, Lansing, and even all the way to Florida. Wherever he was so deeply rooted in our family and so passionately interested in what was going on in our lives. He spent hours studying things we were interested in, places we were moving to, and jobs we were starting. He'd often send videos, facts, and sometimes full novels over text, sharing things he found or thought we'd like. Like, did you know that the maximum wave ever recorded on Lake Superior was 31 feet? Or that it's home to 78 different species of fish? When Adamo and I moved to Florida a couple years ago, he sent us traffic updates every hour on our drive down and would suggest alternate routes to help us get there faster. He was always with us in all walks of life. But he wasn't just there in spirit. Whenever he could, he'd show his support in person. He loved watching his grandkids play all their sports. Rosie running track, Andy on the ice, Jack rowing, Lily playing tennis, and me on the ball field. He had a real knack for taking the most unflattering action photos. I smile looking at them now, knowing he was on the other end of the camera, proud of us no matter how well we played. Papa Todd's love language was giving gifts. He would shower his grandkids on birthdays, Christmases, or just because. He always had a stash of hundreds on him. Every time I'd see him, he'd make up some reason for giving me one. He'd say, "It's for gas," or "Use it next time for bait when you go fishing." When he found out we were getting a dog, he sent us what seemed like a lifetime supply of doggy bags. 2 years later, and we still haven't used them all. I hope he knows how much I appreciated his generosity and thoughtfulness. Being a Fulbright is a pretty special thing. Papa Todd made sure of that. As I reflect on his life and what he meant to me, I've come to realize just how integral he was in all of our lives. As days pass without him, I find myself yearning for his presence. He's a true testimony to the sentiment, you don't know what you have until it's gone. I'm grateful for the time I had with him. I, like many others, wish I could thank him one last time for everything he's done for me and our family. He's ingrained in me. He's ingrained in all of us. And I know that he'll always be there watching over us from that worn-out old chair. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Alex, for sharing that. I know how much Papa Todd loved you. This time, I'd like to share some words from one of Todd's longtime friends, Lee Kitsom. Todd has been one of my closest friends for almost 70 years. For over 55 of those years, we and our spouses have been close friends as couples. In fact, Tom and I were the first to learn he was going to sneak off to Detroit to marry Sue. We did a lot of things together, some crazy, like Todd driving John T.'s big Buick down our country road at 100 miles an hour, often having too many rum and cokes together, and of course a margarita or two on Thursday nights at Mexican Cafe. He and Sue kept our social calendar for most of those years. New Year's Eve, graduations, and weekend sailing trips. I could go on and on with the memories that I'll keep as long as my mind remembers. Thank you, Lee. What a wonderful ride. And now one of Todd's longtime friends, Tom Jackson, would like to say a few words.
Well, I'm in the same boat with Lee. I knew Todd for most of my life, at least 70 years, I think. I believe we met about 1950. We've debated on whether Todd went to Steele's Corner School in the 3rd grade or whether he waited till the 4th grade, but I believe it was the 3rd grade. We had a lot of exciting times at Steele's Corner School, and Steele's Corner's Ray School and Weller School consolidated to become Lake School, and they were building Lake School in our third grade. We moved on to Lakes in the 4th grade, and we were there through the 7th grade. In those 4 years, the community grew to the point where we had outgrown Lake School, the one that they had built only 4 years before that. So we got to go to Rockford in the 8th grade, and we were very proud that we were big-time Rockford people instead of those poor farmers in Lakes. I worked for John T. putting trailers together when I was in high school, and then later on, when I got out of the Navy, Todd had assumed managership of watercraft, and I went to work for him there. Everybody's been talking a lot about sailboats, but I know that Todd was responsible for placing an awful lot of stink pots in the world. They were all glass-drawn boats. We had a lot of adventures together. When we were 18 years old, we went to Geneva on the Lake Ohio. That was regarded as the Sin City of the Midwest. Now, we didn't go there for the sin. We went there because you could drink 3-2 beer in Ohio when you were 18 years old. And we were 18 years old. We didn't eat very much, but we certainly got our fill of 3-2 beer. Well, Todd has suffered greatly in the last several years, and my only consolation is knowing that Todd is not suffering any longer. I'm going to miss him greatly.
Thank you, Tom. Over the years, the miles and the memories, life took Todd and Sue on many adventures and to many places that would become second homes. Edgewater Lodge at the south end of Long Key would be home to many memories for the Fulbright clan as the officially unofficial caretakers of the lodge. The stories of the number of giant fish that were caught down there could fill a book, perhaps even a New York Times bestseller. Fiction, of course. The House of Mouse, Walt Disney World, would become the subject of so many memories for the family over the years. A magical place where Todd could spoil and spend time with him and be a kid again himself. From the Upper Peninsula to the Caribbean and beyond, Todd's calm demeanor and warm smile made many a friend. I know that there are many of you, many friends with so many memories and stories that you'd love to share. Whether it be friends from Bostwick, Cedar, Rockford, Muskegon, the Keys, or anywhere else, I'd like to offer this time to you that if you'd like to share a few words or some memories with the family, now is the time to do so. Anybody like to come up and join us? Oftentimes in life, as we get older and life makes our priorities shift, we lose touch with some of those people who have meant so much to us over the years. These past few years have taught us anything. It's that life is all too short. A phone call that we put off may never get the chance to happen. A visit that keeps getting pushed off, rescheduled, one day may never come. The blessing and the curse of this grand adventure called life is that tomorrow is not guaranteed. All that we have is this moment, right here, right now. Make those moments count. While we are saddened by the loss of such a truly great man, we take solace knowing that our lives were all blessed by John Todd Fulbright. We all practice spirituality in our different ways. I ask for those who do to take this time to say a small prayer for Todd, for Sue, and the family. For those who do not, I ask that you take this time to think of some of the great memories and adventures that you've shared with Todd. As we gather in closing, the family would like to invite you to a celebration of Todd's life at Dave and Kathy's home on Bostrick Lake following our service here today. On behalf of Sue and the entire family, I thank you again for your presence, your thoughts, your love, and your support during this most difficult time. Most of all, we give thanks to God for the life of John Todd Fulbright. I would like to leave you with this poem by John Baker while we watch some memories from the family. Along the shore I spy a ship as she sets out to sea. She spreads her sails and sniffs the breeze and slips away from me. I watch her fading image shrink as she moves on, until at last she's but a speck. Then someone says, she's gone. Gone where? Gone only from our sight and from our farewell cries. That ship will somewhere reappear to other eager eyes. Beyond the dim horizon's rim resound the welcome drums. And while we're crying, there she goes. They're shouting, here she comes. We're built to cruise but for a while upon this trackless sea, until one day we sail away into infinity. God bless.
I wanted you for life, you and me in the wind. I never thought there'd come a time that our story would end. It's hard to understand, but I guess I'll have to try. It's not easy to say goodbye. I wanted you for life, you and me in the wind. I never thought there'd come a time that our story would end. It's hard to understand, but I guess I'll have to try. It's not easy to say goodbye. For all the joy we shared, all that time we had to spend. Now, if I had one wish, I'd want forever back again. To look into your eyes and hold you when you cry. It's not easy to say goodbye. I remember all those great times we had. So many memories, some good, some bad. Yes, and through it all, those memories will last forever. There's peace in where you are, maybe all I need to know. And if I listen to my heart, I'll hear your laughter once more. And so I have to say, I'm just glad you came my way. It's not easy to say goodbye.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
tells his father how he really feels. A handshake or a pat on the back is all that he reveals. I'd like to right that wrong here in this little song. Thank you for shaping my life. Thank you for teaching me all you can. You are no ordinary man. No, no, no. You make me everything I am. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for showing me the way. And thank you for being there when I need you. Thank you for every single day. Now I've been blessed with a son of my own. Got my own bedtime stories to tell. If I can raise him half as well as you raised me, guess I'll be doing pretty well. Thank you for your guiding hand. Thank you for making my dreams come true. You're an extraordinary man, and I hope you're as proud of me as I am proud of you. Thank you for giving me life. Thank you for showing me good from bad. I guess I'm only really trying to say thank you for being my dad. Even though the years drift away, I never took the time just to say I love you, and I always have. And thank you for being my dad. Thank you for being my dad.
Thank you all for joining with us today to celebrate Todd's life. We'll invite you all at this time to join the family at Dave and Kathy's home on Bostic Lake to continue the celebration.
Yeah,